Hey guys, what a gorgeous weekend. You know, there's not that many weekends that the weather cooperates so that it's just beautiful all weekend. It was so sunny, and it ranged between the low 60s and the high 60s, and it was spectacular. We got to do a lot of things that we normally would not be able to do. We went on our first hike of the season, and in case you're new to my channel, I have a lot of physical problems. I have a problem with my back, my shoulder, my foot, my knees. I have a lot of different kinds of physical problems, so sometimes things hurt more than they do others. So when nothing is bothering me too much, I am able to like go hiking and do things like that, but sometimes things just hurt too much that I can't, and I don't know, it varies. But anyways, we went on our first hike of the season, and it wasn't like a big long strenuous hike. It was something sort of on the short and mild side, or short and easy side I should say, but we had a really good time. We went to a place we've never been to before, and it was fun. I used to post hiking videos, but I don't feel like that many people really enjoyed them, so I'm not gonna bother anymore because it's basically just a lot of scenery. I wasn't even in those videos because I was the one filming them. So I guess because it was mostly scenery and things like that, that people didn't really enjoy them that much. I mean, I think most people are here for the makeup. So, yeah, I got to do some yard work and stuff this weekend too. For those of you that do yard work, have you ever started pruning a bush and then just decided that you didn't want it anymore and just chopped it right down to nothing? That's what happened to me this weekend. I used to have 2 rose bushes in my yard, and one of them just kind of died, and this other one, it was fine. There was nothing wrong with it. It wasn't dead or anything, but I started pruning it and just decided that didn't want any more rose bushes, and I just cut it right down to nothing. And when my husband gets a chance, I think he's gonna dig the roots out of the ground, and we're gonna put something else in there instead, because rose bushes are a pain in the neck, because when you trim them, then you have to handle all those thorny branches to put them in, you know, trash bags to get rid of the yard waste and all that sort of thing. And so it's, you know, you can get cut pretty bad with those, and it can be really painful. So I think we're just gonna say no more rose bushes and put something different in there. Was it last year or the year before? We had put in a butterfly bush, and we didn't really get any butterflies. I mean, we got a few, but hardly any. But what we did get was hummingbirds, and oh my God, those are the most amazing creatures ever. If you've never seen a hummingbird in real life, it's pretty spectacular. They're little tiny birds like this big, and they have little tiny wings on them like that long, and their wings beat so fast that it's just a blur. And when you first see them on the bush, they look like a bug because they're so little, but it's pretty amazing. They just go around, like, you know how bees go around and collect nectar? Hummingbirds do the same thing. So the hummingbirds seem to enjoy our butterfly bush more than the butterflies did. Although I don't think it's because the butterflies didn't like the bush. I've heard that butterfly populations are not doing well at all, and that they could even, they're on like, not extinction lists, but endangered species lists. So butterflies aren't doing too good, sadly. But anyways, yeah, when we went on our hike, that was one of the first things that I saw when we started down the hiking trail, was this big, giant, beautiful butterfly. And I think that we're gonna get an early summer this year, or definitely an early, I was gonna say early spring, but it already is spring. But I think we're gonna get an early summer this year because just as I was getting things ready to film just now, I saw a mayfly in the house, which I killed because I don't want bugs in my house. So I just killed a mayfly. And it's, yeah, halfway through April right now as I'm filming this video. So the mayflies are out already. So yeah, we're going to get it early summer this year, I think. Anyway, now that I've rambled way too much, the idea for this video that I'm doing today is what's in my Z palette. Now, some of you might remember that I had purchased a Z palette from Sephora. It's the special Sephora by Z palette. And what I'm using this for is all my favorite eyeshadows are all contained within this palette, unless they're ColourPop, because I can't put ColourPop in here because you can't depot ColourPop eyeshadows because they're like a cream to powder finish. So if you want to know what my favorite ColourPop eyeshadows are, I just recently did a top 10 favorite ColourPop eyeshadows video. So that will be in that video, but these are my favorite eyeshadows that are not ColourPop, basically. And you might be thinking to yourself, well, what about Urban Decay or Lorac or, you know, any of the other eyeshadow brands that don't come in this pan form? I'm not a big fan of palette type eyeshadows because it's someone else's creation. What I love about this is this Z palette is that these are my favorite eyeshadows that I handpicked personally, and I feel like it really appeals more to your artistic sense of makeup experimentation, creation, that sort of thing, makeup artistry. When you buy eyeshadows singularly, it just it's more creative, I feel like. So my favorite eyeshadow brands right now are ColourPop, Anastasia, MAC, and Makeup Geek. I feel like Anastasia and MAC are such good quality eyeshadows and come in so many great colors. Makeup Geek and ColourPop are very affordable, very good quality, really great selection of colors. I like all four of those brands, even though they're at different price points. So I have in this palette, I have Makeup Geek, MAC, and Anastasia. And my idea was I was going to show you what my favorites are, because these are all my favorites right here from those three brands. Now, I don't have that many Makeup Geek ones yet. I've placed 2 orders with her so far, and I only got 3 eyeshadows each time. I just placed a 3rd order this morning, so I have 3 more shades coming. And when those 3 shades come in, that means that more than likely 3 shades that are in this palette right now are going to get displaced. So this is going to be like a work in progress of my current favorite eyeshadows. So every once in a while I plan on doing a what's in my Z palette video just to show you what my current favorites are. But I have really fine-tuned my tastes in eyeshadows, I feel like, and especially you can see that when you look at this palette. And it's definitely heading in a specific direction, I feel like. So I don't think that I'm going to be able to fit everything in this one video. So I think this is going to have to be a part 1 and part 2. I'm going to have to break it up into 2 parts in order to do it, because I know my camera is going to shut off before I could possibly finish going through all these eyeshadows. So let's get started, and what I'll do is when my camera shuts off, then I'll just do whatever's left in the next video, and that will be part 2. So let's do it that way. So these are my current favorite eyeshadows that you can buy in pan form to go into a Z palette, and it just so happens that these brands are my favorite brands of eyeshadow, and even if I could get a lot of other brands in this form, I don't think I would get them. These are my favorite brands and the ones that I've purchased so far. Alright, so let's get started. I'm just gonna do as many as I can with the time that we have left because I chit-chatted a lot at the beginning of the video. I'm gonna start with, I'm just gonna show them to you in the way they're laid out in the palette, and they're really not in any particular order in the palette. I don't know, they're just placed in here this way. So the first one is Anastasia Soft Peach. And you know what, I don't know off the top of my head every single finish on every single eyeshadow here because they're not marked on the back, but the ones that I do know for sure, I'll tell you. And you can always look it up if you're curious. So this is Soft Peach. And that's what that looks like. And I'm not going to swatch these on my arm because they never seem to show up correctly because of my skin tone. So it's much easier, I feel like, for you to see it on my skin if I just do a finger swatch. So that's Soft Peach. And this is a matte finish. And the next one is also by Anastasia, and this is Nude. And the last one is obvious with the color. I mean, Soft Peach. That's the best description you're going to get. And they call this nude, but of course what is nude for one person is not necessarily for everyone because we all have different skin colors. But this is basically like an off-white, I would say. So that's Nude. And the next one is also Anastasia, and this is Birkin. And this is, I would say this is a cross between mauve and nude, really. It's like a mauvey, a pinky nude, I would say. And I just can't resist swatching this on my hand. So that's Birkin. I really like that color and I haven't really heard anybody talk about it, and it's one of my favorite ones of the Anastasia. I need a wetter wipe than the one that's in front of me. Oh, that's better. Okay, so the next one is also Anastasia, and it's Warm Taupe. I love how smooth and pigmented these Anastasia eyeshadows are, and they blend like a dream. So that's Warm Taupe. I said I wasn't going to swatch them, and now I'm swatching them. Okay. What is next? Next, you know what? Let's stick to the Anastasia ones. That would make more sense to group it by brand. Okay, this is Vanilla. And, you know, the color is like the color of vanilla ice cream. This one, I don't feel like it swatches quite as well as those last four that I showed you. So this one is, I mean, once I put it like on my hand, oh boy, how am I going to show you that? Once I blend it onto my hand like that, it's fine. You're not going to be able to see that. It's just going to blend right in with my skin tone. But when you initially apply it, it seems like it's a little patchier than those other four that I just showed you. Okay, the next one is called Orange Soda, and this is also by Anastasia. And this is a peach. And I would say that this is a little bit darker than the Soft Peach, so it's like a medium peach. This is why I don't like to swatch things on my hands, because I don't know, it just does, they don't show up that well on my hands, but they are very pigmented and they blend so beautifully on your eyes. Okay, the next one is called Burnt Orange. So I've got a light orange, a medium orange, and a darker orange. So that's burnt orange right there. And these are all Anastasia. Okay, the next one is called Hot Chocolate, and this is a reddish brown. And that is really super pigmented. And let me do that right here. Look how pigmented that is. That's Hot Chocolate. Okay. And the next one is Cream. And this is just like a off-white. And by the way, every single one of those shadows is matte. That's Cream. And I'm definitely not going to swatch this on my hand or my arm because that would really blend into my skin tone. And this next one is Dusty Rose, which the color is self-explanatory, but you've seen me use this one a lot. It's Dusty Rose is a good description, but okay, my camera just shut off, but I got to at least finish the Anastasia ones before we continue on to part 2. I was just saying that this is called Dusty Rose, but it could also definitely be considered a plum. So if you like plums, this is a good one. That's Dusty Rose. Yeah, I'm going to at least finish the Anastasia ones, and then in the next video I'll show you the ones by MAC and Makeup Geek that I have in here. Okay, this is Red Earth, and this is sort of like a maroon or a brick red type color. That is Red Earth, and you would think that this would be a hard color for me to wear because I'm always trying to get rid of the red in my skin, but I love this shade paired with Dusty Rose. I like to put those two together like as a transition and crease shade. So that's Red Earth right there. And then the last one I have by Anastasia is Fawn, and this is kind of a warm brown. It's a warm brown that would be like really versatile with so many different things. Basically, it's a good crease color. So that's Fawn. Okay, so I think that's it for the Anastasia ones. I think the rest of the ones I have here are MAC and Makeup Geek. And let me just make sure before I shut the camera off. Yeah, okay. So that is part 1 of my What's in My Z palette. And like I said, this is going to be changing over time as I buy more eyeshadows. But to be honest with you, I don't think I'm really going to have to buy that many more eyeshadows to get this exactly the way I want it, because I really love the setup that I have now. And when I get those next 3 Makeup Geek ones, it should be very interesting to see what gets displaced and what stays. So that's part 1, and I will post part 2 probably tomorrow. Bye.